Hello and welcome to the Cohn Zone. I'm Grant Cohn, Little Cohn. That's Lowell Cohn, my dad, the icon, the Bay Area sports legend. Dad, thanks for coming on the show with me today. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm excited about this broadcast today, and I'll go into my reasons, but this is a big day for 49ers stuff,
Yeah.
because the draft, thank God, is in 2 days.
Yes.
And so we can stop all the BS soon and really talk about who they took and what we think about it. But this is the final prelude to it. I'm going to ask questions because you're really the guest expert. And I want you to be at your most brilliant. And you look good. I like the shirt. Is it a new shirt?
And I've had it for a while, but I'm adding it to the rotation. The
I like
rotation.
it with the tie. You look very good.
Well, thank you.
Okay, let me put on my glasses because I can't see or hear. Okay, this is a good one.
Yeah.
From what I understood when we chatted about our topics, it was supposed to be the press conference, the presser, as we would say in the business. Yeah. Yesterday was supposed to be John Lynch fending off any legitimate questions about the draft. And a last-minute addition was Kyle Shanahan, which is unusual.
Yes.
Please understand, it's always the general manager.
It's his day.
Even when there was a knucklehead like Balky, it was always him alone. So this is quite unusual. So my question is, why do you think the Niners added Kyle at the last minute?
I have no idea. I have theories that I can't prove, but here are my theories. It looked to me like Kyle Shanahan wanted to influence the narrative. Like he didn't want John Lynch to have the final say on whatever happens before the draft. Now, what you got to know the context here is that it's been reported by Ian Rappaport, Michael Lombardi, Adam Schefter, that the 49ers are basically split on who they want. That Kyle Shanahan and his dad want Mac Jones, and John Lynch and Adam Peters, the assistant GM, and the scouting staff want Trey Lance. So that's been reported as of like yesterday. If the Niners are still split and they're going to argue it out and hash it out until the end, well, maybe Shanahan felt like he couldn't allow John Lynch to be the only person setting the narrative with the media right now. What do you think?
It's plausible. Again, these are hypotheses.
Yes.
It's plausible because it's so unusual for the coach to be there. It also seems to me, since this is the domain exclusively of a general manager, the coach is asserting himself. He's saying it's not only your domain, it's my domain too, or more than you. So it's showing, I don't know if split is tension. It's showing tension in the front office.
Did you hear that part when John Lynch said, a lot of people wonder, there's some confusion, in my contract, technically I get the draft. He said that. Now, of course, on quarterbacks, I'll always defer to Kyle, but he'll always take my input too. He wants my opinion and respects it. Did you hear him say that?
No. Can I tell you, I didn't know where to watch it yesterday. Oh. So you're my eyes and ears.
He absolutely said that. He said, look, a lot of people wonder what's my responsibility, what's his responsibility in the contract. Yes, technically the draft is mine, but I'll defer to Kyle on quarterbacks because, it's Kyle. But Kyle also wants my input, and we do this together. So to me, he was saying, hey, man, my call. I can defer to you, and I will, but maybe not always. I don't know. It was interesting. He said that.
Also, it seems to me like, Iggy, when you have the general manager alone, he never says anything of substance.
Right.
We see a lot of good guys. Are you going to go for the best athlete or the position? Well, we take everything into account. Just babbles for 30 minutes. Here, Lynch wanted to have one of those.
Yes.
And Kyle turned it into something substantive.
Yes.
Which is unheard of and wonderful for fans and media.
Absolutely.
So here's my question. Since you watched it, what was their tone? Were Kyle and Lynch, was their body language similar? Was their affect similar? Was their tone similar? Or were they at odds?
Okay, here's my interpretation, and fans watching, feel free to jump in the comment section and say if you agree or disagree. But the way I interpreted watching it was John Lynch was, well, he always is this way, but he was particularly confident, open, and positive about everything he was saying. He was talking all about the process they did and how much research they did and how successful all of the fact finding they did was, which to me sounded like we didn't just listen to Kyle and his dad this year. We actually like used the full resources and scouting department and everything. And when he talked about things, he said, we like this, most of the time you draft a quarterback, they go to a bad team, but we think we're a good team. So we think we're in a position where this quarterback can sit and play when he's ready. Play when he's ready. We don't have to rush him on the field because a lot of times there are adverse effects long-term for quarterbacks if you rush him on the field. He said that. So he was like really confident, like they got the plan and it all worked out. And then Kyle to me came on and was like argumentative, defensive, and a little negative. Like, hey, he kept saying like, we need a starting quarterback. We need a starting quarterback. Jimmy's injuries, they've ruined 2 of the 3 seasons. We need a starting quarterback. And it kind of sounded at odds with what Lynch was saying. Like Lynch, like, wait, we got time. Jimmy's fine. Jimmy's good. Jimmy wins. Kyle's like, no, we need a starting quarterback right now. So it seemed like Kyle, his narrative was different. His tone was different. And I don't know who's going to win out, but they seemed like they were at odds.
Wow. You'd love to really, really know what's going on between those two.
Absolutely.
But here's the thing. Up until yesterday, they were always saying Jimmy's our quarterback, like they were given and all of a sudden yesterday, Kyle is saying he's not our quarterback.
Totally changed the message. In a month, totally changed the message. He gets hurt too much. We need a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say that a month ago.
Iggy, that's big news.
That's big news. And it's honestly, he's saying we need a starting quarterback. And then in the next breath, the GM right next to him is saying what's great about where we are is that we don't need a starting quarterback. We have Jimmy. We have this great team. The guy can come in and play when he's ready. And Lynch said it like that with emphasis. When he's ready, he can play. And you got Kyle over saying that, no, he needs to be ready to play right now because you can't count on Jimmy to stay healthy at all. And he wouldn't even confirm that Jimmy would be alive by Sunday, let alone on the team. Someone like, can you say Jimmy's going to be on the team? It was Eric Branch. I can't even say if any of us are going to be alive. So Kyle already has him off the team, where Lynch is saying he's going to afford the rookie time to develop. Isn't that amazing that you have these 2 different narratives in the same press conference? Probably because Kyle invited himself at the last minute.
You know what Kyle was really saying about Jimmy? You're dead to me, Jimmy.
You're dead.
Isn't that from The Godfather?
You're dead to me. You're dead to me. I don't want to coach you anymore. I don't want you on this team anymore.
You're dead
and
to me.
Look, if John Lynch is going to keep you here and Jed York's going to keep you here, I'm going to say it publicly that I want you gone. I want you gone and I'm the coach. So come back if you want to. Here's my interpretation of why there was a difference in tone. And I have no idea. But tell me if this sounds right. I mean, it seems to me that if what's being reported is true, as this person's pointing out here, that Kyle is probably the only person in the organization who wants Mac Jones. Kyle and his dad, who's not even in the organization. And then, the same people who drafted CJ Beathard, same people with that track record. Then you got the entire staff, Adam Peters, John Lynch, all the scouts, all the personnel people saying, we really like Trey Lance. We want Trey Lance. And then you see Jed York looking at the fan reaction. The fans do not want Mac Jones. I put out a tweet yesterday, a poll saying, would you rather let Kyle Shanahan draft Mac Jones or trade Kyle Shanahan and draft Justin Fields? 70% of Niner fans said trade Kyle Shanahan. So I don't think Jed York wants to do the most unpopular move of all time. And the rest of the organization saying, don't do it, this guy's better. It's possible there was a meeting yesterday morning before the press conference or the night before. And Jed said, you know what? Thought about it. This is an organizational decision. Kyle, I hear you. I respect you. John, I hear you. I respect all of the people behind you. We're going to take Trey Lance. Kyle, I'm sorry. I listened to you. I listened to John. I listened to staff. We're going to take Trey Lance. That's the way it is. And Kyle was upset, frustrated, and wanted to get his story out there on yesterday. What do you think?
Well, here's my takeaway from it, Iggy. My takeaway is the big news is finally, thank God, Thursday night we'll know who they take. Yeah. But the other equally big news is the rift, the apparent rift in the organization. You have to understand that's very big news. And for the coach to be there and to contradict the general manager and to to say, I want the guy off, I want another starting quarterback.
Yeah.
this is all very big news, equal to who they take.
Absolutely. And remember, John Lynch was the one who wanted to trade for Jimmy Garoppolo. Kyle always said he was hesitant because he wanted Kirk Cousins. So it makes sense for Lynch to be like, wait a second. I like Jimmy still. He wins. He was hurt. Let's not run him out of the building. Let's let him be a starter and let's take Trey Lance, who needs time to develop. Where Kyle is like, forget that. I'm done with Jimmy. All he does is get hurt. Give me Mac Jones because he can start right now. As if the deciding factor is who's ready to start right away as a young guy. But
Joe Montana didn't start right away, and
he
was
didn't.
A pretty good quarterback.
No, he didn't start right away, and neither did Tom Brady, and neither did freaking Patrick Mahomes. But you know who did? Right, but you know who did play as a rookie? C.J. Beathard, who's terrible. And again, what Lynch said was there can be adverse effects from rookie quarterbacks playing too soon. I think the Niners should see that right away. If they think that there was ever anything good about C.J. Beathard, then maybe they ruined it by playing him too soon. All I'm saying.
It set back Jim Plunkett by playing as a rookie.
Right.
He's a Heisman Trophy winner.
Exactly. And the two greatest quarterbacks in on the 49ers history all developed late. All had to take time to develop. They weren't great as rookies, Montana and Young. All right, moving on.
Okay, I'm going to move on to I'm asking the questions.
You're asking the questions.
Take a deep breath. Okay. Well, the second question was the difference in tone and message between Shanahan and Lynch, but I think we handled that.
We did that, yeah.
Okay, I'm moving on. Okay, are any of the quarterbacks who will be available to the 49ers at 3 can't miss quarterbacks, i.e., are any of them Tom Brady, Joe Montana, who were taken in later rounds?
Hell no. I think there's one can't miss quarterback in the draft, and he's going to go with the first pick to Jacksonville. After that, good luck. And here's why. There was this pandemic. It really took away a lot of games. There's less raw data to base your decision on, and that makes it tough. I mean, Trey Lance played 1 game last year, played 17 games total. The Niners are picking reportedly between Trey Lance and Mac Jones. Both guys started 17 games in college. That's it.
Okay. I'm not asking if the Niners are being shrewd. I'm asking about the players themselves. So either of those two that you're talking about, is either one of them a can't miss?
No, absolutely not.
Give me one reason why each one is not a can't miss, and name a name.
Well, Mac Jones could be a total mirage. He played 17 games late in his career, like when he was 21 on the best team in college football. That's it. He's not physically gifted in the slightest, and there's been plenty of Alabama quarterbacks who flopped. Justin Fields, he went to Ohio State. They don't prepare quarterbacks for the NFL. A lot of the NFL people seem to question his decision-making, I don't know, maturity. That's been coming out. He might drop really far. And then there's Trey Lance, who played 1 AA football, played 1 game this year, didn't play any NFL talent in college. It seems very, very scary. Like, these are all very imperfect prospects. Not Andrew Luck here.
Okay.
Yes.
So I want to come back to Lynch and Shanahan.
Yes.
I hear Lynch through you. I hear Lynch saying, since we need a quarterback, but since all of these guys are not a can't miss quarterback, we need to go slow and be prudent. Whereas Shanahan is throwing all his money in on the one guy they're going to get, who is not probably going to be Joe Montana or even Jeff Garcia.
Correct. So who sounds more prudent? I'm with Lynch.
I'm with Lynch.
Yeah. And you know what? Apparently so is the rest of the organization. So what would you do if you were Jed York? Would you overrule? Who would you overrule? Everyone or just Kyle?
Right. I hear you. You know,
do you want to alienate everyone or your head coach?
You know, the problem with that is you're saying Jed York. If you said, what would a normal owner do? I would go in with the whole with the whole scouting staff and with the general manager. I feel, and Jed, I'm sorry, and it's not personal. I feel that Jed York is such a poor decision maker. He's really not good. So I don't have any confidence. Look, he's the one that got rid of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
Iggy.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. I don't have any confidence.
Okay. Then let's take Jed out of it. Let me ask it another way. Since John Lynch asserted at the press conference publicly that the draft is his thing and he gets final say, he can always choose to defer, but he doesn't have to. Do you
Right.
think do you think John Lynch will overrule Kyle Shanahan in this case? Because that's, I
Okay.
guess, the question here.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the next topic too. Well,
I'm having trouble. Hold on.
Yeah,
You asked me a question. I want to
yeah.
answer it.
Go ahead.
First of all, I'm having trouble answering it.
Yeah.
And I want to say, man to man, if you put them man to man, John and Kyle, John Lynch is a man.
Yeah.
It's not wrong to be a woman. I'm not, please don't get me on that. I'm talking about a man's league. I'm talking about what's at stake for these people.
Right.
To me, John Lynch is a tough guy and a hero.
He's the one who played in the league.
He's
the one who was
hero.
great.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
And Kyle doesn't have the gravitas. He doesn't have the character that John Lynch has. But I don't know what their arrangement is, Iggy.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Again, I come back to Jed York. I have no idea how Jed York presented it. When he brought in John Lynch, did he say you're subservient to Kyle Shanahan? He's silly enough to do things like that.
Yeah.
So man to man, I'm with Lynch. I don't know what happened behind the scenes. I don't know what John Lynch will do or what he's allowed to do.
True. Okay.
So I ducked the question, but I had to because I don't know the answer.
That's fair. It was an unfair question. Plus, you're the one asking the questions today, so I'll get back to it.
I don't like.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Sorry about that.
Okay. Right. Okay. You ready? The next thing, I'm going to ask you the two-parter, and I want you to be really clear on this.
Okay.
The quarterbacks that they're gonna, because we know they're taking a quarterback. I mean, come on. Who is the quarterback they should take from Grant Lawrence Cohn's point of view, and who is the quarterback they will take?
Okay. I'll start with the first part. The quarterback they should take. I'm with Lynch again. I'm with Lynch and the scouting department. I like this Trey Lance guy. He's a tough evaluation because he played 1AA football and didn't play this year. The one game he played this year was against Central Arkansas. He was 15-30 with an interception. People are like, what the hell was that if he's supposed to be so great? He won. He won a national championship the year before. I think the more research you do on this kid, Trey Lance, the more it seems like he is a total natural. A total natural. That he's going to end up being about 6'4", 245 pounds, the most athletic quarterback in the league, and one of the smartest quarterbacks in the league. Everyone that coaches him and that's been around him says that he's off the charts in terms of intelligence, passion for the game, drive to improve, decision-making on the field. I mean, I think he started 1 year as a quarterback in high school. Didn't get any offers to play quarterback around the college football, had to bet on himself. And then in his 1 year he started, he had 28 touchdowns and no interceptions and 14 rushing touchdowns. Carson Wentz went to the same school and didn't produce anything like that. He seems like a natural. So I'm with the scouting department. I think they should aim high and go for it. And I think Kyle Shanahan should have confidence in his ability to develop. That's what I think the Niners should do. This kid, Trey Lance.
What will they do?
The Niners will do. All right. Well, I think if it's up to Kyle Shanahan, they'll take the other guy, Mac Jones. But just based on the body language and the tone of both guys, it just felt to me like John Lynch was the one getting his way, not Kyle Shanahan. It seemed like
come back to the quarterback.
I think it's going to be Trey Lance. I think they're going to take Trey Lance.
Listen, take a deep breath. Why do you think Kyle wants Mac Jones?
I think he and his dad decided a long time ago that Mac Jones can run their offense perfectly. I don't think they think about who is going to be the best quarterback 5 years from now, 10 years from now, who's going to have the best career. They think, who can I have the most success with right away in my scheme? And it seems like if they take Mac Jones and it doesn't work out and the Niners get rid of Kyle, no one's going to want to come to the Niners and coach Mac Jones. No, he's not a draw. But if they take Trey Lance and all that potential and Kyle can't get it out of Trey Lance, then the obvious thing to do is fire Kyle and bring in someone else, because a lot of people want to coach Trey Lance. He's enticing. So it's like a good way to have a little job security. I'm taking Mac Jones. I'm the only one who wants Mac Jones. I'm the only one who values him highly. I don't know.
Well, another way of looking at it is what you said is currently Mac Jones could probably run Kyle's offense, meaning, again, we come back, Kyle is a system coach.
Yes.
Bill Walsh
So is
would
his
have
dad.
said, Bill Walsh would have said, who's the best quarterback? I'll work my offense around him and I'll emphasize his strong points, which we saw him do. The other guy says, I don't want the best quarterback. I want the best quarterback for me, for my system. And he won't adjust his system for an extraordinary talent. And if that's the case, that is a tragic flaw in Kyle Shanahan's way of looking at football. It's a tragic flaw. It's how Gruden looks at football, tragically flawed. It's not how Bill looked at football. And you have to be as open-minded as possible. And when you have an extraordinary talent, you need to adjust your system. You don't put the system over the talent.
He wants the best fit for his offense and the best fit now. The guy who's the best now. Is that what Bill Walsh would want? I mean, he had a 3-year plan for Joe Montana. He spent years developing Steve Young. Would he say that the most important thing is who's the best at 22 or who's the best at 30? Who's the best at 35? Isn't that what you're trying to get?
You know, another thing, the way we're conceptualizing this, the way Kyle is acting, it smells of desperation.
Why?
He's lost patience.
Yes.
He's apparently making a flawed decision.
Yes.
All because I need to win now.
Yeah.
I feel desperate. I need to win now. Last season was terrible, as opposed to take a deep breath. No one's firing you. Yeah. Let's make the best decision.
You got an extension. You can talk this over with Jed York. The rest of the organization is behind taking this younger prospect who needs more development. Go for it. Be ambitious. Don't just take the thing about Mac Jones is you look at him and it's like, well, what's the potential there? He doesn't have a strong arm. He's not athletic. He's not big. How much better is he going to get than he is right now? Whereas with Trey Lance, you think like in 3 years, this guy could be the best player in the league. He could be that good. So why wouldn't you try? If everyone in your organization says he checks out every single way, all the intangibles, all the things you can't teach, he's off the charts. Go for it, Kyle. We give you our blessing. No, sorry. He's too. I want Mac Jones. I don't know. So Santiago saying, give us a percentage, taking Lance, Mac, or Fields. I mean, do you have any feeling of what they're going to go after I've laid it out? Do you think Kyle's going to get his way? I don't know.
I've already answered. I have no idea if he's going to get his way. And here's the thing, Iggy. I've told people on the broadcast before, I don't ever pay attention to these people until they're in the NFL. I have no preference. In fact, I couldn't care less. Then when they're on the team, I'll begin to learn about them. A lot of times when people came on the Niners, I didn't even know what college they went to. I didn't care.
Yeah.
That's how I covered, for the most part, professional sports. I was interested in professional sports and not in college sports. I think it's the most corrupt thing going.
Yeah.
So I don't really care who they pick, but I certainly value your opinion. That's why I'm asking the questions and you're giving the answers. I'm going to move on to the next question, which I like. Kyle seemed to indicate that Jimmy is not going to be on the team long term. I mean, he could be gone by Sunday, right? So the question is, do you believe the Niners will get rid of Jimmy lickety-split after they draft whoever this is?
Yeah, it seems to me that if Kyle had his way, the answer would be yes, that they would take Mac Jones and they would get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo this weekend and they would make Mac Jones a starter. And that would be that. So if I think Kyle Shanahan's going to win out, then yeah, I think Jimmy Garoppolo will be gone this weekend. But then you had the other guy saying, Jimmy's great for us because he allows the rookie to develop and play when he's ready. So if John Lynch had it his way, they'd keep Jimmy. And I'm thinking that John Lynch and the rest of the organization is going to get their way and Kyle's going to have to go along with it. I think they're going to keep Jimmy, but I don't know.
I'd like to pretend for our discussion that Kyle's going to have his way. Let's play a game. Let's play a game.
All right, cool.
Kyle's going to have his way because he's the coach. Do you think Jimmy will be gone quick?
Yep. If Kyle gets his way, they're going to take Mac Jones on Thursday, and they'll probably trade Jimmy Garoppolo by Friday.
Okay. Yep. Let's continue along this narrative that Kyle gets his way.
Yep.
I think one thing that we could agree on, Kyle is no longer a fan of Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I want to point out that, at least on my Twitter, Grant and I have been down on Jimmy for a long time. We never thought. I mean, he had this explosive introduction to the Niners, and we thought he was really good. But we quickly saw, and we talked to people, that he was not such a big deal. Okay? But I saw on my Twitter a lot of people don't like Jimmy, but a lot of people do. Up until even now, a lot of people write to me, you and your son, you're terrible. We hate you. You never gave Jimmy a break. It's not his fault he got hurt and all of that. And I want to say something. A lot of people defended Jimmy. Now the coach doesn't even defend him.
Yep.
So they may be, or the fans at least haven't read the coach correctly.
Right.
The minute they get rid of Jimmy, everybody will say they were right to get rid of Jimmy. And I'm going to tell you why. Fans almost always agree with management.
Yes.
They almost always agree with management. And if they finally decide Jimmy's no good, they're going to wipe out all the history of Jimmy, all of their opinions about Jimmy, and they're going to say, Jimmy was wrong. My attitude always was, now, by the way, I would agree that Jimmy wasn't that good. And the fans were finally coming around to it. My attitude, in my small way, because I only was a sports writer, not politics or anything like that, I wanted to stand up to power.
Yes.
I never wanted to believe their narrative. Because I always felt they were hiding things.
Yes.
They weren't being upfront.
Yes.
So I tend to want to disagree with power and management. In this case, however, I think management is finally agreeing with you and me, Iggy. We were saying this 2 years ago.
I think they agreed with us.
Super Bowl run, he wasn't that good.
And we said it during the time that, look, they took the ball out of his hands in the NFC Championship game. They don't trust him. They agree with us. They feel the same way. And Niner fans were like, how could you say that? They were running the ball well. Why would you get away from the running? No, they don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. And I think it's clear that Kyle Shanahan blamed him for losing the Super Bowl, blamed him for having the losing season in 2018, and blamed him for having the losing season in 2020. And if you put those three blames on Jimmy Garoppolo, then you probably can't use that excuse anymore. You've used it 3 times now. You do need to move on and get a new starting quarterback, but that's his excuse. John Lynch can say, I didn't lose those games. I'm not a losing head coach. I want to take the long approach. I want to make the right pick for the future of the franchise, not just for the current system. Because theoretically, the quarterback should outlast the coach.
I'm going to add something else, because you've really brought up a very interesting topic that goes beyond football to all major professional sports.
Sure.
General managers and coaches or managers in baseball generally don't like each other.
That's right.
I mean, they get along, but they're not pals because their interests diverge.
Right.
The coach or the manager is trying to keep his job, and he wants to win now, i.e. Kyle Shanahan.
Yes.
The general manager is building for the future. Brian Sabian. He was always building for the future.
Right.
They think in a different way.
And they're at odds. I mean, those two things are at odds a lot of the time. Building for the future, building for the present. You can't do both all the time. We have to do one at the expense of the other.
Yeah, like in baseball, Iggy, the manager is always saying, get me a pitcher. I need a pitcher. I need a pitcher right now. And
at the expense of
manager, or the general manager would say, well, what do I have to give up to get this pitcher?
Right.
And there's constant tension. And that's exactly what you saw yesterday between those two guys. I want to win now, the coach. Hold your horses, the general manager. Two different interests.
I want to do what's best for the organization long term, which is supposed to be the decision here. You're not supposed to be choosing based on what's best for now. So good for John Lynch. Hold your ground. Don't just defer to Kyle Shanahan. You know you're right. I'm telling you you're right. Your assistants are telling you you're right. What is Kyle's track record drafting quarterbacks? You don't have to defer here.
Not only what's his record drafting, what's his record developing. Everybody talks about if they get a really good college quarterback. He's a quarterback whisperer. No, he's not.
Ask Jimmy Garoppolo about that.
Yeah, look what he did with Jimmy. Jimmy only went down under Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, and I don't think he would probably have nice things to say about the experience.
Okay, I'm moving on.
Let's move on.
I'm moving on. Now, the question is, now we've talked around this. I want you to pretend that you're Jed York.
Yes.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And you heard your coach imply that he wants to get rid of Jimmy lickety split in the next few days. You're Jed York and you have the ultimate decision. Would you get rid of Jimmy right away? Would you get rid of Jimmy before the next season?
I would not get rid of Jimmy right away. No.
Why?
No. Kyle justified this move. He said, look, the Rams traded 2 first-round picks for an all-pro safety that worked out, cornerback that worked out. The Seahawks traded 2 first-round picks for an all-pro safety that worked out. They didn't trade for an all-pro anything. They traded for a guy coming out of college. They don't know what Mac Jones is going to be. They don't know what Trey Lance is going to be. Those guys are all unknowns. Every draft pick is. And you're trading away a guy who wins when healthy, even if you don't like him that much, for a potential disaster, a potential lemon you don't know. Why do that? Why anoint some kid? Why not have a competition? You anointed Jimmy Garoppolo. It seems like the kid could benefit from the competition. He's an unknown anyway. At least let the kid win something before you trade Jimmy Garoppolo. You don't need cap space. Free agency's over. What's the deal?
I totally agree with you, Iggy. I think competition in training camp would benefit the kid, would benefit Jimmy, and more important, benefit the team.
Yes.
That, you know what? This snot nose came from college and wasn't just given the job, whoever he is. He had to beat out Jimmy, who we like.
Right.
So I would say, in this case, I guess I'm with Lynch again. If we're interpreting Lynch correctly, what you want is real competition. And Iggy, you want to be standing there at those workouts where you'll be allowed to be and see how it works out and draw your own conclusion. It may be obvious, and it may be obvious that the kid's better, but it may be obvious that Jimmy is more ready. And so the idea of trading this chance for competition to make the team better strikes me as very bad judgment if that's what Kyle wants to do. And it sounds like it's what he wants to do.
Right. And if he's saying, well, I don't want to rely on Jimmy to stay healthy. I want to get rid of him and get the guy who can start right away. That's Mac Jones. Well, again, Mac Jones, 17 starts in college. Trey Lance, 17 starts in college. Are you sure that Mac Jones is more pro ready or is pro ready at all? It seems to me that these young quarterbacks that can't move and have to operate as pocket quarterbacks kind of struggle until they've had some experience, because it's going to be much more difficult. I know the SEC is pretty good, but you're not going to see the speed and the diversity of coverages and all the tricks and blitzes that you're going to see. You're going to get tricked a lot by NFL coordinators. And it seems like even Peyton Manning didn't really come into his own until his mid to late 20s. I don't know what you're expecting. Why is Mac Jones going to be, why is he pro ready? Why is he better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now?
And listen, let's say they keep Jimmy and Jimmy wins the competition. Let's say he does.
Yep.
And let's say Jimmy starts a few games and gets hurt. They have the other guy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Then they have the other guy. So what do you lose?
That's right. And Lynch also said it. There is value to sitting the quarterback. It is dangerous to play him if he's not ready. If he is ready, great. Let him prove it with a competition. But why just assume that he's going to be ready when the general manager already said that's an issue, and you saw what the negative effects of assuming that with CJ Beathard?
Okay, I want to move on and say something else.
Sure.
I want to say why I think Shanahan wants to get rid of Jimmy and doesn't want competition. Because if Jimmy beats out the kid, it'll prove Shanahan wrong, and Shanahan will be proved wrong. What do you think?
Absolutely. He's made it clear Jimmy's the problem. Jimmy needs to go now. Jimmy's the reason we lost the Super Bowl and we had 2 losing seasons out of the last 3. Got to go.
Right.
So he could be wrong. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, and he doesn't want to risk being wrong. He doesn't want to risk the Jimmy beating this kid out in training camp. That's pretty weak.
Super weak. Extremely weak. Extra weak. Yep.
Extra weak.
I think I totally agree with you on his motivation there. Hold your ground, John. It's your team. You're the general manager. Hold your ground. That guy picked CJ Beathard. Remember that.
Okay. I got another question here. Hold on. We both agree they shouldn't get rid of Jimmy. Let's say Shanahan wins and they get rid of Jimmy. What can they get for him? Let's say it's draft choices. What would they get?
I think Niner fans have a fantasy that they could get a second-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo, which is what they gave up for him. Do you think he's worth more or less than he was worth on the open market or on the trade market 4 years ago?
Less. I say less. There's no question.
He's 4 years older. He's been exposed. He has all these injuries. No higher than a third.
I'd say a fourth.
A fourth. Probably day
Yeah.
3. Yep.
I think, again, honestly, I think they could get a fourth. And then we come back to the prior point. If all they can get for him is a fourth, keep him and make there be a competition.
Right. Some 4th round pick isn't going to contribute to your team and make you better in the short term or the long term than having 2 quarterbacks. Because if you get rid of Jimmy, now you got a rookie and Josh Rosen and Nate Sudfeld. You could theoretically have a terrible quarterback room and a terrible team while Jimmy Garoppolo goes somewhere and finds a way to keep winning.
Yeah. I mean, if they keep Jimmy, let's say, okay, let's say Jimmy wins the competition. He's the starter. The rookie is number 2. Who's number 3?
Josh Rosen? Nate Sudfeld. Probably Nate Sudfeld, who they gave $250,000 to. I would say it's probably him. I don't think Josh Rosen has any guaranteed money. Rosen probably have to go to the practice squad. Sudfeld. Good name.
Okay.
Yeah.
But in any event, those are 3 quarterbacks. They would have, he would only be the 3rd guy.
Yeah.
Sudfeld. And he probably wouldn't suit up on most Sundays.
Right. Yeah.
It's not bad to have Jimmy and the rookie. The way I look at it.
And do you really need a 4th round pick this year? Is that going to make the difference? Or can you hold on to Jimmy, let him win or lose? If he loses the competition, trade him then for a pick next year.
I agree.
Get a 4th round pick next year. Yeah.
That's how I would do it. Yeah. Okay. I'd like to move on. I have some other things I'd like to talk about.
Sure.
We've talked exclusively about the quarterbackness of quarterbacks.
Yes.
And Jimmy and Schmimmy and the other guys. They have other picks, Iggy.
Yes, they do.
I'd like in the 2nd round, what do they got?
43, which is right in the middle.
Okay, at the 2nd round pick, we're going to pretend that John Lynch has the power of these picks. You're John Lynch.
Okay.
Who do you take at 43?
Okay, to me, there's only one responsible choice here, and it's cornerback. I think it's the position they've been neglecting for like 2 decades. It's the position they probably could have went with if they hadn't traded up and they believed in Josh Rosen or Jimmy Garoppolo. Jason Verrett's a hell of a player, but he misses games. He misses entire seasons. You got to have a backup plan if he goes down, because if he does go down, they have the worst corners in the league. Corner, I think, is the only right choice.
Can you name someone?
Yeah, there's a guy named Tyson Campbell from Georgia. If he's not available, they could get a guy named Aaron Robinson from the University of Central Florida. Aaron Robinson. And if you want to see Aaron Robinson or Tyson Campbell, I did film breakdowns on my YouTube channel. Google it.
Okay.
Yes.
After 43, what's their next pick?
After that, it's 102 in the 3rd round. They traded their 3rd round pick for Trent Williams, but they got a compensatory pick for losing Robert Saleh. So it's at the very end, right before round 4, 102.
Okay. Who would you take with that pick?
Well, I would go with an offensive lineman. What would you do?
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, someone who could play guard or center, because center's been a big issue. Both have been a big issue, and they might have to trade up. There's a guy that played really well at the Senior Bowl named Quinn Miners. They could take him. There's a guy who went to Ohio State named Wyatt Davis. They could take him. There's a guy who went to Notre Dame named Aaron Banks. They could take him. There's a guy who named Kendrick Green. There's options. That's a good spot for an offensive lineman. If they wait longer, last year they waited until round 5 and got a guy who was total stiff and didn't help him at all named Colton Kivitz. I think they got to go earlier than that.
I would agree with that. I noticed yesterday I read anyway about the press conference. You asked a non-quarterback question.
I did.
Are they going to pick
up?
I
broke news. I was the only one who broke news. They said they are picking up Mike McGlinchey's 5th-year option, which means he'll be back in 2022, and they're going to pay him $10 million that year. They could trade him before then, but he's an asset they're holding on to. So God love you, Mike.
Okay. Also, when you asked that question, Lynch must have been so happy because he didn't have to answer about quarterbacks anymore.
Did you see him say thank you?
Thank you. Did he say thank you, Grant?
Thank you, Grant.
Yeah. It's very interesting, Iggy. Lynch knows your name and everybody's name, and he uses names.
Yes.
Kyle never has said Grant, has he?
No, absolutely not.
One assumes he knows who you are.
Of course.
You know, it was interesting. Bruce Bochy never said Lowell.
What do you think that is?
Well, I could talk Bochy. I don't know the other. I don't know Kyle.
It's probably similar. So theorize.
Okay, here's the deal with Bochy. By the way, I love Bruce Bochy. He won 3 championships. He's quite a guy. He is an old style baseball guy, old world, and those people respect beat writers.
Yes.
The guys who are at the ballpark every day, the guys who schlep on the road and work long hours, and those people are his inner sanctum, his coterie, and he would use their names.
Yes.
Andy, Henry, that kind of thing. Columnists come in and out. A lot of times I wouldn't be there that week. I might be covering the Warriors or the Niners or the Raiders. And he wouldn't give me the honor of calling me Lowell. Now, privately, if I were in his office alone, we were talking about wine, he might say Lowell. But publicly, never, because I hadn't earned it. And what's more, he was correct. I respected him.
I think that's exactly what it is. It's an honor. They know we notice and appreciate it, and they give it out judiciously. Now, what is the motivation behind it? It's probably different from person to person. From Kyle, it seems to me that if he likes you, if you're not against him, he'll give you that honor. But I could be against him sometimes. I've been critical, and it's like, okay, well, there's a price. I'm never going to use your name. Fine. Lynch does.
Iggy, does Kyle use other people's names?
Yeah, I hear him say Matt.
Interesting. Yeah. So it's not all media. It's media who he perceives as challenging.
Yes. Hey, you want to be up my ass and give me a tough time? Fine. I don't use your name. I'm not going to promote you. I'm not going to promote you.
Lynch, as a point of honor, would use your name to show you don't get to me.
Of course. Of course. That's what
I love. I'll use your name double.
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I don't take it personal that you're critical. I mean, I played in the league. I was media. It's part of the deal. I can take it. I'm not insecure. Also, I'm going to make you like me. Because you won't be as critical if you like me. I love John Lynch. I always try to see things from his perspective. Kyle, I don't dislike. I just don't love him. I don't have any type of personal feelings towards him because I don't know him. So if I feel like being critical that day, why wouldn't I? If I feel like being positive that day, there's no reason not to. So that's the way it goes.
And the only thing he can withhold from you, because he has no power over you, the only thing he can withhold from you is your name.
That's right. And I can take that. I can take it.
I love it. But you know, and fans, I got to tell you, this is how it works. This is how it works. I love it.
Yeah, there's these little things, and it's funny because I think a lot of reporters would do what it takes to get the first name treatment from whichever coach they want. That is big status. Hey, I heard Kyle Shanahan say your name in the press conference. You're on the way up in this industry. Me, I'm persona non grata. But the nice thing is, I don't need him to say my name. Everyone knows who I am already. So I don't need him to say my name. Lynch will say my name.
Iggy, it would kill me if one day you ask a question and he says, yes, Iggy.
Or Sweetie. Everyone in the comment section, which you don't read, calls me Sweetie because you called me that 3 weeks ago. So I like that.
I don't get that. It's not that I don't read it.
On the right side, you see on the right side, it says private.
I know how to read. I've been reading from an early age, and it's blank.
It says private comments, though, right?
Private chat. It does.
Private chat. On the right, it says regular. What does it say? What does it say right to the right of private chat?
Comments.
Click on that. Baby.
Hold on.
I'm just going to introduce you to a whole new world. The comment section.
Comments.
It's crazy. They come in nonstop, Dad. Boom. Now you see it. There you go.
Okay, sweetie. Now I see it, sweetie.
How can this draft be better than if they stayed at 12 and got the one of the quarterbacks that fall trade back into the first round? I don't know, man. They traded up. That's what they're going to do. I'm sorry. Santiago says, did you see the video?
I got an opinion. Lowell Cohn has an opinion.
Coin?
They should have stood at 12. For what they're going to get, they should have stood at 12 because they gave up too much for what they're going to get. Can I be any more clear on that? I don't think they gained. Now, Lynch said it gave us choices and this and that. This is like an old Brooklyn. You say they should have stood. They should have stood at 12. should have stood. They would have got one of these guys who's not a can't miss guy, and they wouldn't have had to give up 3 first rounders.
No.
No,
And you heard Kyle justifying it. You heard Kyle justifying it. So, well, the Seahawks did it for safety. The Rams did it for a corner. Those guys were in the NFL and had established themselves as the best at their position. You're going to draft Mac Jones. Do not compare Mac Jones to Jamal Adams or Jalen Ramsey. Come on. Mac Jones could be terrible. Trey.
Hey, Iggy,
and yes.
Before we move on, or say, happy trails today.
Yes.
Could we talk about Trent Baalke a little?
Oh, yes.
Because here's what I want to say. I'm thinking draft, and I used to cover the draft, and I got to tell you, it used to bore me. And in fact, the last few years when Iggy was there and they would draft some guy, I would have no idea. And Iggy would say, Dad, this is what you should write. And I would write whatever.
Give you an angle. Give you an angle. Take you through the day. Yeah.
It was like wonderful.
Uh-huh.
So, but it makes me think of doing the draft with Trent Baalke.
Oh.
Iggy, remember I once asked him if he liked poetry?
Yes.
Because one of the guys they drafted was a poet.
Yes, and they made a point to say he actually, this guy writes poetry. And so you raised your hand and you said, Trent, do you like poetry? And he made a mistake because he wasn't prepared for that question. He said, yes. And you, shouldn't have said that. He said yes. And you said, okay, name one poet. No, you said, name your favorite poet. And he was like, and then Bob Lang in the back was like, Walt Whitman.
Right.
So Trent Baalke said Walt Whitman. He said, no, you got to give your own answer.
That's right. Bob Lang was the PR guy. He's now gone to the Eagles.
Yes. Walt Whitman.
And he said, I said, name your favorite poet. He didn't know any poets. And
then he said Dr. Seuss after that. And you're like, that's fair. I like Dr. Seuss too. Yeah, that was before. That was a simpler time. That was a simpler time. That's true. That's true.
So that was Trent Baalke. But here's the thing. I don't know about his psychology, but Iggy does know this. We'd sit in this room and he would sit at a desk and everybody would take their the recorders or their cell phones and they'd put it right in front of him haphazardly on the desk.
Yes.
So while he's answering questions, because he was so weird, he's straightening them out. So at the end, they look like a little
piano keys.
Huh?
Yeah, look like piano keys.
Piano keys. And what he had accomplished that day, he never answered anything. He's just, all possibilities. It was just babbling.
Best player available, blah, 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 blah. Yeah.
But he had the neatest desk with the neatest lineup of recorders that you could ever see.
That's true.
So
the other thing about him too, Baalke, real quick, is when he started and he had success, he had no time for the media. I mean, if you tried to talk to him before a game, he'd start walking and you'd have to follow. And I've seen people do it, and it's like, man, that's tough, man. That's kind of dehumanizing to trail someone like that. And then his career went down the tubes in record time. And all of a sudden, guy who wouldn't give you the time of day in the eating room, anywhere, is coming up to you at preseason practices saying, hey, Lowell, how's it going?
Oh, I want to make the scene. They had a practice at Kezar Stadium. And
Chip Kelly
was the advent of the Chip Kelly era. Although, if you could call that an era, I don't know.
It was less than a year.
Iggy, we knew that Chip Kelly was going down. I mean, we knew that he was. So this was preseason at Kezar, and Iggy and I are standing on the sideline because it was pre-COVID. All of a sudden, Baalke comes over to us with a big grin. And he came over and, hey, Lowell, hey, Grant, how's it going? And you would have thought and when he left, as he walked away, I said to Iggy, he's scared for his job. He wants allies.
Yep. It wasn't endearing or charming because we've seen him ghost us so many times. It was, that was weak. His position is weak. What's going on?
Yeah.
He's scared for his job. Nothing against him. It didn't feel like, he likes us now.
No.
He likes us now.
He's being a phony.
Yeah, he's being phony.
Iggy, what does ghost mean?
What is ghost?
I like it.
Disappear. He's there, he's gone.
He's disappeared. I would be on the road. Sometimes there was an eating room in every stadium, and I'd be on the road, and you go in the eating room an hour or two before the game and get some lunch. And he any number of times would be there with me, and would look right past me and walk out. And
Yeah.
when he came to us,
You're dead to him.
I'm sorry?
Like you were dead to him because of something you wrote one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was unimportant. He didn't need me.
Yeah.
When he came over to us at Kezar, Iggy, it was a riot. It was a riot. Like I was saying, he was throwing us a curveball, and you could see him gripping the seams. You could see the catcher put down, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Melvin the Magnificent says, do you guys think Frank Gore deserves a gold jacket after his retirement? Why? Is he a Hall of Famer, Frank Gore?
What's a gold jacket? Hall of Famer?
Yeah, Hall of Fame.
I would say I'd really like to look at his stats, and I don't have a chance now. I would say he's an all-time great 49er. I'm not sure he's a Hall of Famer.
Interesting. If you looked at his stats, you might think he is a Hall of Famer because what he has going for him is longevity and production. He's been playing forever. He's going to end up, I think, the second or third most rushing yards of all time. But he was never really a top 5 running back in the league. So what do you do with that?
Yeah.
I mean, he's like a pitcher in baseball who got to 300 wins, but their ERA wasn't necessarily as high as, it was in the 3s, not the 2s.
Right, and he never won 20 games.
Never won 20 games, but pitched until he was 43.
Right.
And got there. So what do you do with that?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah.
He was never Bo Jackson.
No. That's it. That's a perfect comparison. See, to me, Frank Gore is a Hall of Famer. Bo Jackson isn't. Bo Jackson didn't stay healthy long enough, even though he was better when he was healthy than Frank Gore was. It matters what you accomplished, not what you could have accomplished.
If they put in Frank Gore in as a Hall of Famer, I wouldn't have any objection.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful 49er. God love him. And I think when he retires, there'll be some sort of a job for him at the 49ers. I think they love him that much.
Yeah, they see him as part of their family if they have one. Max says, what if Lance isn't even in the top 5, but Mond is? Wouldn't be surprised if Shanny takes him. Something unexpected will happen. Greetings from Germany. Thank you, Max. I don't think my dad really knows too much about Kellen Mond, although I've told him a little bit. But it's my favorite quarterback. I hope they like him. But we'll see. Niner Dude just gives us $5. Thank you so much, Niner. I appreciate it.
You have to know, Niner Dude, I don't get any of that $5, but it's okay.
That's true. He's a little salty about it, but, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to redo our arrangement. Dad, you got to get an agent, and then we'll talk about it, all right?
Have my people talk to your people?
Yeah, we'll have to make an arrangement. You going to call? Should I call you?
No, I'm not done yet.
Good. What are we talking about?
Okay, I want to talk about how happy I am that I won't have to talk about the draft for another year. Could I just say this for a minute? I'm going to take my glasses off because I want you to see the emotion in my eyes. This has gone on for 6 weeks.
Yes.
I am like, I want to fall down and pant like a dog.
Yes.
I am so tired and bored of talking about the draft. I am ready to talk about whoever they take. And then I'll learn about this guy and I won't have to think about the other guys and we'll find out what happens to Jimmy. And that's really, really big news. So I want to make an analogy to CNN. I want to tell you guys, my wife watches CNN all the time. I feel like Wolf Blitzer moved into our house with that hangdog look. And Jake Tapper. Now, here's the thing with Jake Tapper. His voice, we know his father.
Yeah.
Ted
I
Tapper,
like his dad. Ted Tapper's a good guy.
Very nice. Ted Tapper was a doctor and an intern at a University of Pennsylvania with my brother Robert. Yeah. I've known Ted Tapper since I was in my early 20s.
Yeah.
But Jake, oh my God. And what they do is before a debate, the presidential debate, they get on with Jake and Dana Bash, and they all say, what are they going to say?
Oh.
What do you think? What points are they going to make? How the hell do I know? I mean, they didn't make the points, and they'll go on for weeks. What if he says this, and if he says that? And this, with the draft, I could hear Dana Bash and Jake Tapper talking. It's like, oh my God, if they take Mond or Schmond or this guy or Fields, and who knows? So
I know.
In a way, I'm putting you down, and I'm sorry.
I can take it.
But the thing is, you have to do it because that's the big topic. But what I'm saying is now we're going to get to a real topic. The real topic is they took so-and-so. What are the ramifications and what happened with Jimmy? That's a real topic. Everything that's been happening up to then is CNN. And that's CNN.
Yeah, and so you just compared my YouTube channel to CNN, which is fine because I basically did start a 24-hour 49ers news network. I think I'm the first one to do that, and it seems to be very successful. People want 24-hour Niners news. The problem is when they traded up to number 3, that created 5 weeks of me bringing people on my show saying, "So who do you think the Niners should take with the number 3 pick?" Because I have to. Every time I do anything other than that, the views aren't the same. So I understand why CNN does what they do.
Right.
The views dictate it. And our friend Francis from the meat department DM'd me yesterday and said, "Hey, when the Niners made that trade up to 3, that was kind of like you hitting the lottery, right?" And I said, "Yeah, quite literally. It's been the best thing that's ever happened to me financially. So if you look at me as CNN, I can take it. Call me Wolf Blitzer. I'll be Jake Tapper for the next 3 days. But I am looking forward to being done with this as well."
Are you sore at me that I brought that up?
I like Jake Tapper. I like Ted Tapper. I like Don Lemon. I like everyone over. Do I watch CNN? No, not per se, but I like the idea of them. So
okay, I want to say one thing, and then we could get out of this. I much prefer you to Wolf Blitzer.
Thanks.
I don't think I've ever seen Wolf Blitzer smile.
He looks what's the problem with Wolf?
I don't know what happened to Wolf. Don't read that. I want you to look at me.
Okay, I'm not reading it.
What I want to say is Wolf Blitzer walks around with like a cloud over his head.
Yeah.
Everybody's happy, and Wolfie's got that look, and with a day, and I'm breaking news. He's from Buffalo, New York. Maybe if you're born in Buffalo, New York, that happens. He is the saddest guy. Wolfie, come on. That's what I had to say, Iggy. You're not right. Wolfie.
Well, thanks. My dad doesn't think I'm Wolf Blitzer. I'm going to step up. I like that. That's a good thing. Jeff says, Lowell, what 49ers rookie gave you the best and biggest impact the second you saw them play on the practice field?
You know, I'd like to say Jerry Rice, but he didn't start off all that well. Okay, right. I know. Ronnie Lott.
He was a big hit right away.
I had to think of that. Ronnie Lott.
He was a big hit right away. They understood what they had.
Oh.
Okay, here's a big $10 question for you, Dad. Lowell, do you still watch baseball? Do you know why my Yankees are sucking this year besides giving Cole over $300 million contract? Our pitching is terrible.
I don't follow the Yankees. They're far away. I'm a New Yorker, but I'm not
a Dodger guy.
They're far away. I was a Dodger guy. I was in Brooklyn. But do I still watch baseball? Yes. I got to tell you, I love baseball. I love football. I'm totally uninterested in the NBA. It's redundant. It's simplest. I don't like it. Baseball I like the leisure of it. I like the contemplative of it. And so now you got me on this, and I got to say a few things that really bother me. And the great Barry Bloom, who's a great baseball writer, disagrees with me on all of this. When I watch a game and it's extra innings, and start with a runner, the team that's up has a runner on second base. That's a sacrilege. What is it? Softball?
Yeah.
What's the hurry?
Yeah.
I don't like that at all. I also don't like that you put in a reliever and he has to pitch to 3 batters. That's a rule. Whatever happened to the discretion of the manager? Now I know La Russa overdid it, and I think he's to blame for this, La Russa. Yeah. But still, I think a manager, it ought to be to his discretion. I don't like those 2 rules at all, Iggy. Oh, and one other, and this drives me nuts. Double headers, 7-inning games.
Yes.
Baseball's 9 innings. Pro hardball is 9. Now what is it? Does the commissioner not like baseball? All of a sudden it's 7 innings. So when's the 7th inning stretch? Is it the 5th inning stretch?
There's another thing that gets me. I went to a game a couple of weeks ago with my friend Nico. We played baseball together in high school. Every batter, there's a shift. Every batter, there's a shift. What is that? I mean, I guess that's what you're supposed to do, but it's like, I don't even recognize the sport anymore. No one steals a base. You can't do that. Stealing a base is totally taboo, but you shift every single time. You got a guy in short right field. There's no one at third base. All they have to do is bunt the ball, and it's a free single, but no one takes it. It's like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it.
Yeah, Tony Gwynn would have just hit to the other side.
Every time. But no, you can't do that.
1,000.
You can't do that. You're not allowed to bat 1,000. You have to hit 240 while trying to hit home runs. It doesn't make any sense. I don't get it.
No, I don't like what they've done with the game. No. Having said that, I love baseball.
Yeah.
But I wish I don't like Bob Manfred, this Rob Manfred, whatever. I don't like him.
Yeah. Like I'll be watching. They'll have a guy. I was at the game. They'll have a guy on second base. The lefty's at bat. There's a shift on. Okay. So you got the guys in right field, the third baseman's at shortstop. There's no one at third base, and they won't steal. They won't steal third base. It's like, well, what's the point? There's no, you can have it. Take it. It's right there. And like, no, what is that? I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I like stealing bases. I grew up watching Ricky Henderson. When you were in Little League, you stole bases. No one, you just hit singles up the middle, and you stole bases. Now it's all about launch angle and stuff. I couldn't launch it. Dad, was I a launcher? No.
you were no launcher.
I was no launcher. Okay, so we got that one. Newt Lab TTV says, I love you daring the Niners. I've been daring the Niners to take Mac Jones, Dad. Cracks me up. I don't watch everyday Niners news, but your news is so good. I watch it. Got to be Lance Pray. Yeah, I'm trying to drive home the point that it's a terrible pick by saying I want the Niners to do it. And it's my little bit that I got going on right now.
I like it. I like it.
Was there one more? And if not, then we're going to get out of here. Hold on. I'm looking. He's looking. Oh, wait. There's another one. Last one. Stop donating, and this is it. I'm so happy Daddy Cohn is back and healthy. Much love, sir. Thank you, Chris.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Iggy, you know, we were talking on the phone last night about you and Swastika coming to dinner.
Yeah.
And you said maybe Saturday, and I said Sunday. It could be Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
Whatever you want.
Yeah, because we should be done with the draft around 4 or 5 o'clock on Saturday. We'll see.
So we'll talk. I mean, I didn't want to rule out Saturday. Here's the deal, everybody. We love when they come to dinner. It's like really fun. And I'm already planning the wine. So any night you want.
Last one. Trey says, can you explain why Jim Harbaugh got ran out while having success and what is different from Kyle and Jim? They both want to take over every aspect.
Okay. I want to answer this one.
Mm-hmm.
We were not behind the scenes, but we know Jim. Mm-hmm. And I think Jim went out of his way to disrespect Jed.
Yeah.
I think he may have been very rude and maybe even very cruel because I think he had basically no respect for him. And
I don't think you need the word basically. Yeah.
Eliminate basically. Yeah. And I think that Jed, and I think Jed may have had a point. You know, it's hard to have an employee who doesn't respect you. I think probably had Jed been a little more mature at the time, he might have been more assertive and they might have been able to work it out. But I do think it's obvious. Now, let's put Kyle out of the equation because we haven't got the full story on Kyle. But the coaches who came after Harbaugh were a joke. And whatever iteration of Harbaugh Jed had would have been better than the Butcher and that Chip guy. And so it was wrong. It was a mistake. But I think they just simply couldn't get along and Harbaugh didn't respect them. And he probably had his reasons.
Yeah, and I think Kyle probably is less overtly disrespectful to Jed York because, what do you gain from it? And also, you saw what happened to Jim Harbaugh. And also, Harbaugh was about 20 years older than Jed York. When Jed York was the owner and Harbaugh was the head coach, Jed was like 30. He was younger than me. Now Jed's 40, Kyle's 40. Might be easier for them to at least have seen eye to eye. I don't know.
I agree. Yeah.
Good question, Trey. Thank you very much. All right. That's the end of the show. Dad, thanks a lot. I always enjoy the last 15 minutes where we freestyle. That's my favorite.
Freestyle.
Freestyle. I'll call you right now, all right?
Okay.
Don't you go nowhere.
This was fun.
This was fun.